The black ship. The laughter started before Elias Vance even reached the center of the arena. Thousands of cadets filled the observation decks above him. Representatives from 12 star systems occupied the diplomatic galleries. Military officers watched from elevated command booths, and every single one of them knew exactly what was about to happen. The giant holoscreen above the arena flashed a prediction generated by the Academy's tactical intelligence. Survival probability, 0.02%. The number remained suspended above Elias like a sentence. A death sentence. The crowd erupted. Some laughed, some booed, others simply looked away. Nobody enjoyed watching a human fail anymore. It had become too predictable. Elias lowered his eyes and kept walking. The Academy instructors had stopped pretending the exercises were fair months ago. Every species enrolled in the Galactic Defense Academy possessed gifts humanity could barely comprehend. The Varkans could process combat scenarios faster than military supercomputers. The Cathari possessed limited precognition. The towering Dravak could survive battlefield injuries that would kill humans instantly. Even the smallest species possessed advantages: enhanced memory, telepathic communication, extreme lifespans, superior intelligence, superior strength, superior biology, superior everything, at least according to the galaxy. Humanity had joined the Interstellar Union only 23 years earlier. 23 years of embarrassment. 23 years of proving every stereotype correct. Weak, short-lived, emotionally unstable, primitive, fragile. Every year Academy rankings placed humans near the bottom. Every year alien commentators questioned why Earth remained a member of the Union. Every year humanity smiled politely and endured. Elias stepped into the arena. Across from him stood his opponent, Cadet Rylox, a Varkan, tall, silver-skinned, 4 eyes, decorated with more Academy honors than some graduates earned in their entire careers. The tactical simulation was simple: 1 city, 1 invasion, protect civilians, delay enemy forces, win condition, survive 6 hours. The Academy AI had calculated that Rylox possessed an 89% chance of success. Elias possessed virtually none. The crowd knew it. The instructors knew it. Even Elias knew it. The simulation countdown began. A familiar voice spoke from the observation deck. "Try not to die too quickly, human." More laughter. Elias glanced upward. Cadet Serac, top-ranked Dravak, future fleet commander, the Academy's golden student. The same cadet who had spent 3 years reminding everyone how weak humans were. The same cadet who viewed humanity as a statistical mistake. Elias ignored him. His pulse accelerated. Reality vanished. The arena disappeared. The simulation began. And within seconds, everything went wrong. Red warning lights flashed across the virtual city. Emergency sirens screamed. Orbital defenses failed instantly. Communication grids collapsed. Enemy forces entered atmosphere. Elias studied the tactical display, then frowned. Something felt wrong. The scenario parameters didn't match the briefing. The invasion fleet was far larger than reported, nearly triple. He checked again. His stomach tightened. The Academy AI never made mistakes. Never. Yet the numbers were impossible. Before he could investigate further, enemy bombardment struck. Buildings collapsed. Millions of civilians panicked. The city descended into chaos. Most cadets would focus on military assets. Elias focused on evacuation routes. He rerouted emergency transportation, converted maintenance tunnels into refugee corridors, redirected power grids, sacrificed military positions to preserve hospitals. The crowd watching above immediately began criticizing him. Wrong choice. He abandoned strategic objectives, typical human thinking. Yet 20 minutes later, something unexpected happened. Civilian casualties remained astonishingly low. Rylox's simulation showed superior battlefield control, superior tactics, superior military efficiency, but his civilians were dying, thousands, then tens of thousands. Elias continued making decisions nobody understood, destroying bridges, abandoning districts, redirecting resources, saving people. The instructors exchanged confused glances. The statistics became difficult to explain. Rylox was winning the battle. Elias was preserving the population. Hours passed. For the first time all year, observers stopped laughing. By hour 4, Elias had somehow achieved the impossible. The city still stood, not because enemy forces were weak, because every civilian had become part of the defense. Teachers, engineers, doctors, parents, students, volunteers. Elias had transformed ordinary people into a coordinated survival network. The simulation AI struggled to predict human behavior because humans kept doing irrational things. Neighbors saving strangers, workers volunteering for dangerous missions, families sharing resources, citizens refusing evacuation to help others escape. Again and again, the simulation generated outcomes that contradicted galactic probability models. Again and again, humanity refused to behave logically. The audience grew silent. Even Serac stopped mocking. Then the final hour began, and the enemy commander revealed itself. A massive war machine descended into the city center. An impossible threat. The kind designed specifically to end simulations. Academy records showed a 98% failure rate. Rylox's scenario collapsed immediately. Defeat. Simulation terminated. The crowd applauded. Another expected outcome. Then they turned toward Elias. His survival probability dropped below 1/100%. The AI displayed it publicly. 0.08%. Yet Elias wasn't looking at the machine. He was staring at orbital sensor data. Something hidden behind the simulation. Something the Academy had not intended students to see. His heartbeat slowed. Confusion replaced fear. Because there was another signal. A real signal. Not part of the exercise. Not simulated, not artificial, real, moving through Academy space. Fast, very fast. Elias zoomed in. The object appeared as a single dark silhouette. No identification beacon, no diplomatic codes, no registry, no known design architecture. Just a black shape drifting between stars. For a moment he thought it was a sensor error. Then every alarm inside the simulation suddenly activated. Not simulation alarms, Academy alarms, real alarms. The exercise froze instantly. Reality returned. The arena reappeared. Cadets looked around in confusion. Instructors began receiving urgent transmissions. Military officers stood from their seats. Faces drained of color. The giant tactical display flickered, then changed. The crowd fell silent. A live image appeared. Deep space, Sector 9, less than 3 light hours away. There, against the endless darkness, drifted a ship unlike anything the galaxy had ever recorded. Black. Not painted black. Black in a way that seemed to consume light itself. Stars disappeared around its hull. Sensors couldn't determine its size, couldn't determine its composition, couldn't determine its origin. The image looked wrong. Reality looked wrong around it. Every military observer immediately recognized the implications. Unknown vessel, unknown technology, unknown intentions, inside Union territory. A voice echoed through the Academy. An emergency broadcast, Priority Omega, the highest level ever issued. All Academy personnel remain in place. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. The voice continued. Fleet Command has confirmed unauthorized entry into Union space. The image zoomed closer. The ship remained silent, motionless, watching. Then a transmission arrived. Not directed toward military headquarters, not directed toward government leadership, not directed toward Fleet Command, directed toward the Academy, toward the students, toward them. The transmission contained only 7 words. 7 simple words. Words that froze every being in the arena. Words that would soon throw the entire galaxy into war. The translation appeared on every screen simultaneously. We have come for the human children. And at that exact moment, every eye in the Academy turned toward Elias Vance. Because hidden within the transmission metadata was a recipient designation, one specific student, one specific human, one specific Academy cadet, Elias, the forgotten human nobody respected, the human with a survival probability of 0.02%, the human who suddenly looked just as shocked as everyone else. Then the black ship moved, and the countdown to war began. The truth buried in human history. For 3 full seconds after the transmission ended, nobody breathed. The Academy arena, normally filled with noise and movement, became so silent, Elias could hear the faint hum of the emergency lighting overhead. Every screen still displayed the same horrifying message. "We have come for the human children." The words felt wrong. Not because they sounded threatening, because they sounded personal. Alien invasions were not supposed to sound personal. Throughout recorded galactic history, wars had always been fought over territory, resources, ideology, religion, technology, trade routes, political influence, or survival. Entire civilizations had burned for those reasons. Trillions had died. But nobody had ever crossed interstellar distances for children. Nobody. The realization spread through the arena like poison. The military officers understood it first. Then the instructors. Then the students. Fear followed immediately. Not fear of attack, fear of not understanding. The black ship remained motionless on the tactical display, watching, waiting, as if it knew exactly what effect its words had created. Fleet Commander Talvek appeared on the central holo display moments later. The aging Dravak looked nothing like the decorated hero who appeared on recruitment posters across Union space. His scales had darkened. His eyes looked exhausted. And for perhaps the first time in decades, genuine uncertainty was visible on his face. "All students remain where you are." No one moved. "Multiple Union fleets are currently en route to intercept the unidentified vessel." His voice remained calm, professional. But Elias noticed something strange. Talvek never referred to the black ship as hostile. Military commanders always labeled unknown contacts, friendly, neutral, enemy. Yet Talvek avoided all three, as if nobody knew what category the vessel belonged in. The commander paused, then spoke words that made the entire academy even more uncomfortable. "We have searched all known records." Another pause. "Nothing like this ship has ever existed." Whispers erupted across the arena. "Impossible." The Union maintained archives stretching back nearly 60,000 years, every known civilization, every known vessel class, every major conflict, every significant technological advancement, everything. Yet the black ship matched nothing, not one database, not one historical record, not one species. It had appeared from nowhere, and it wanted humanity. Only humanity. Talvek continued. "All human students are being transferred to secure locations immediately." Now panic spread. Not among the humans. Among everyone else. Because the implication was obvious. If the ship wanted humans, then humans were somehow connected to whatever was happening. And if humans were connected, what else had humanity failed to tell the galaxy? Dozens of suspicious eyes turned toward Elias and the other human cadets. Elias hated it instantly. Yesterday they had been invisible. Today they were suddenly the center of attention. Neither felt comfortable, especially because Elias knew no more than anyone else. The transfer began within minutes. Armed security teams escorted every human student from the arena. Nobody resisted. Nobody complained. Questions filled every corridor. Rumors spread even faster. By sunset, wild theories dominated the Academy network. Ancient human superweapons, lost civilizations, hidden alliances, secret experiments, forbidden technologies. Each explanation sounded crazier than the last, yet nobody had anything better. Elias sat inside a secured conference chamber deep beneath the Academy. 23 human cadets occupied the room. Every one of them looked frightened. A military intelligence team stood nearby, watching, waiting. Nobody trusted anyone. Finally, a young woman broke the silence. What if they're human? The room turned toward her. She swallowed. What if the ship belongs to humans? Nobody laughed. Under normal circumstances, they would have. Now, not one person found the idea amusing, because the black ship's technology appeared centuries beyond anything the Union possessed. If humans somehow owned such a vessel, everything the galaxy believed about Earth would collapse overnight. A military officer shook his head. We investigated that possibility. His expression hardened. There is no evidence supporting it. Then what are they? The officer didn't answer. Because he couldn't. Nobody could. Hours passed, then days. The black ship remained at the edge of Academy space, motionless, silent, watching. Union fleets surrounded it. Hundreds of warships, thousands of weapons, enough firepower to destroy planets. The black ship showed no reaction whatsoever. That terrified everyone even more. Then the first fleet disappeared. Not destroyed, not damaged. Disappeared. One moment it occupied tactical displays. The next moment it was simply gone. 32 ships, 20,000 personnel, vanished. No debris, no distress signals, no energy readings, nothing. Panic erupted throughout the Union. Emergency sessions convened, governments mobilized, military readiness reached levels not seen in centuries. Still the black ship remained silent, waiting, watching, and every day it moved slightly closer. Only a little, just enough to remind everyone it could. By the seventh day, fear had become universal. Entire civilizations began preparing for war. Then the second fleet vanished. This time, the Union attacked first. The decision came from terrified politicians desperate to appear strong. A coordinated strike involving thousands of weapons targeted the black vessel. The attack never arrived. Every missile stopped. Every energy beam disappeared. Every weapon ceased to exist. Then another fleet vanished. The message was clear. The black ship could erase armies effortlessly, and it was choosing restraint, for now. The galaxy had never encountered power like this, not even close, which raised a terrifying question. If it wanted humanity, why was humanity still alive? That question reached Elias repeatedly during the following weeks. Military investigators questioned every human student, every human family, every human government, every human historical archive. They found nothing, absolutely nothing. Until an old historian on Earth noticed something strange. A forgotten anomaly buried within ancient records. Something so old most historians considered it myth. The discovery arrived at the Academy 23 days after the black ship first appeared, and changed everything. Elias sat inside a briefing chamber alongside senior officers when the transmission arrived. The lead researcher looked pale, visibly shaken. 311 years ago, she began, a signal was detected beyond the outer solar system. The room became silent. She continued. It appeared only once. A star map appeared overhead. Our ancestors lacked the technology to investigate. The signal pulsed. Ancient, weak, mysterious. A translation was eventually attempted. Another pause. The researcher looked directly at Elias. The translated message contained only 4 words. Nobody moved, nobody blinked. The room felt frozen. Then she activated the final file. The translation appeared. Protect the children of Earth. Every person present felt their stomach drop. The room exploded with questions. Impossible. Coincidence. Forgery. Manipulation. Yet the data survived independent verification. The signal was real. Older than first contact. Older than humanity's expansion into space. Older than the Union's awareness of Earth itself. Something had known humanity existed long before the galaxy discovered them. Something had been watching. Something had cared. The implications were staggering. Elias stared at the message. A strange feeling stirred inside him. Not fear, recognition, as if some buried instinct whispered that this mattered, that it always had. More investigations followed, deeper searches, forgotten archives, lost databases, ancient satellites, old lunar facilities. Then another discovery emerged, and this one shattered, accepted history completely. Humanity's earliest deep space probes had not all disappeared. Several showed impossible course corrections, tiny alterations, too precise to be accidental. Someone had guided them, protected them, watched them, for centuries. The galaxy responded badly. Suspicion grew rapidly. Many species began accusing humanity of deception. Conspiracy theories spread. Anti-human sentiment surged. Protests erupted across Union worlds. Fear transformed into anger, because fear always searched for someone to blame. And humanity was convenient. Elias felt the change everywhere. Friends stopped speaking to him. Students avoided him. Some openly accused him. Even instructors became distant. The message was clear. Humanity had become dangerous. Not because of what they had done, because of what nobody understood. The situation worsened when the black ship finally moved again. This time it entered Union territory completely. No fleet could stop it. No weapon affected it. Entire armadas scattered before its approach. Worlds prepared evacuation plans. Governments discussed surrender. The countdown to war accelerated. Then came the betrayal, the event that nearly destroyed everything. A coalition of fearful species decided the simplest solution was removing humanity entirely. If the black ship wanted humans, give it humans. Several governments secretly proposed isolating Earth. Others suggested abandoning human colonies. A few advocated extermination. The discussions remained classified. But classified information never stayed hidden for long. When the truth leaked, humanity reacted with stunned silence. Then heartbreak, then anger. Elias watched the broadcasts from Earth. Ordinary people stared into cameras with expressions he would never forget. Not hatred, disappointment. The galaxy had welcomed humanity, promised unity, promised cooperation, promised trust. And now, when fear arrived, those promises evaporated. Millions of humans suddenly realized how conditional their acceptance had always been. The realization hurt more than the threat itself. Yet humanity did something unexpected, again. Instead of mobilizing for revenge, humans organized evacuation efforts for alien worlds. The very worlds debating whether humanity should survive. Cargo ships departed Earth carrying food, medical supplies, emergency equipment, refugees, aid workers, volunteers. The galaxy couldn't understand it. Many humans couldn't understand it. Why help those who wanted you abandoned? Why save those who feared you? The answer appeared repeatedly across human networks. Simple, unremarkable, powerful. Because they needed help. Nothing more, nothing less. Elias saw that answer thousands of times, and slowly began realizing something. Maybe this was the thing the galaxy never understood. Not human strength, not intelligence, not technology. Human choice. The choice to care anyway. The choice to help anyway. The choice to stand beside people who didn't deserve it. The choice to remain human when bitterness would be easier. Weeks later, that choice would change the fate of civilizations. But first, the truth had to emerge. And the truth arrived from the black ship itself. On the 41st day, without warning, every screen across known space activated simultaneously. Every device, every satellite, every network, every world. The black ship had finally decided to speak. Its transmission contained a single image, nothing more. An image so shocking that entire governments collapsed into panic. A photograph. Ancient, damaged, clearly centuries old. The image showed Earth, not modern Earth, ancient Earth, and standing beside a group of terrified human children. was a being no known species recognized. Tall, dark, wrapped in unfamiliar armor, protecting them, shielding them, watching over them. The timestamp was verified almost immediately. The image predated human spaceflight, predated the Union, predated modern civilization itself. The impossible photograph proved one horrifying fact. The visitors had been on Earth, not decades ago, not centuries ago, thousands of years ago, long before recorded history, long before humanity understood the stars. The galaxy reeled, religions fractured, scientists panicked, governments demanded answers. Humanity stared at the image in stunned disbelief. Because the question was no longer whether the black ship knew humanity. The question was far worse. Why had it been protecting humanity for thousands of years? And what terrible thing had it been protecting humanity from? As panic swept the stars, another transmission arrived. A final message, short, urgent, and directed specifically toward Elias Vance, the Academy cadet, the forgotten human, the student everyone once mocked. The message contained coordinates, a location beyond known space, and beneath the coordinates appeared 9 words. 9 words that made Elias's blood run cold. The enemy has found Earth. We are too late. Then, for the first time since its arrival, the black ship powered its weapons, and every sensor in the galaxy detected something approaching from the darkness between galaxies, something vastly larger, something vastly older, something that even the black ship feared, and the stars themselves began to disappear. The reason humanity survived. The stars were vanishing. At first, most people assumed it was a sensor malfunction, a software failure, a communications error spreading across interstellar networks. The explanation lasted less than 3 minutes. Then, observatories on hundreds of worlds confirmed the impossible. Entire regions of space were going dark. Not because something blocked the light. The stars themselves were disappearing, one after another, like candles being extinguished by an unseen hand. Panic swept across the galaxy. Governments collapsed into emergency sessions. Military fleets mobilized. Civilian populations flooded evacuation centers. Every species that had once mocked humanity suddenly found itself confronting the same terrifying realization. Whatever was coming, it was not a threat to one world. It was a threat to everything. And somewhere in the darkness, the black ship accelerated. For the first time since entering Union space, it moved at full power. Reality twisted around it. Space itself seemed to bend. Sensors failed attempting to measure its velocity. Entire fleets watched helplessly as the vessel crossed distances that should have required weeks. It reached Earth in less than an hour. The galaxy watched live. Billions, then trillions. Every screen carried the same image. The black ship hovering above humanity's homeworld. Silent, motionless, protective, not invasive, protective. That distinction changed everything. Fleet Commander Talvek was among the first to recognize it. The vessel wasn't positioning itself for bombardment. It was placing itself between Earth and the approaching darkness, like a shield, like a guardian, like something preparing for a final stand. The implications terrified him, because guardians only appear when danger is real, and guardians only make final stands when they believe they might lose. For 41 days, the galaxy had feared the black ship. Now something existed that frightened the black ship itself. Something that could erase stars, something approaching rapidly. And Earth stood directly in its path. Far below, Elias Vance stood inside Earth's orbital command center. He still felt absurdly out of place. Weeks ago, he had been a forgotten academy student. Now presidents, admirals, scientists, and alien ambassadors filled the same room. Most looked exhausted. Many looked terrified. Several looked ashamed. The anti-human rhetoric that had spread throughout the Union suddenly seemed very small compared to extinction. Nobody spoke about abandoning humanity anymore. Nobody discussed sacrificing Earth. Those conversations had died the moment the stars began disappearing. Fear had finally become universal. A young scientist suddenly stood from her station. Her voice shook. "We've translated another section." Every conversation stopped. The room turned. Since the ancient photograph had arrived, researchers had been attempting to decode hidden information buried inside the transmission. Most of it remained incomprehensible. Fragments, broken data, ancient records. Now, one section had finally yielded. The scientist activated the display. Ancient symbols filled the room. Then the translation appeared. For several seconds, nobody spoke, because nobody could. The message contained only a single sentence. A sentence written thousands of years earlier. A sentence directed toward humanity. When they find you, remember who you are. Silence. Deep, absolute silence. Then Elias felt something. A memory. Not his memory. Something older. A feeling buried beneath generations. A feeling every human understood without realizing it. The feeling that no matter how dark things became, you kept moving. No matter how impossible the odds became, you kept trying. No matter how often you failed, you stood up again. The message felt familiar. Because humanity had lived it for thousands of years, long before reaching the stars, long before becoming a civilization, long before history itself. Then another transmission arrived, this time directly from the Black Ship. The communication channel opened throughout the command center. A figure appeared, the same being from the ancient photograph. Tall, dark, armored, ancient. Its face seemed almost human, not identical, but close enough to create immediate unease. The room held its breath. The being spoke. Its voice carried the weight of ages. "We have protected your species for 12,000 years. Nobody moved. Nobody blinked. 12,000 years. The number alone shattered everything. The being continued. "We are the wardens." Images appeared around it. Ancient star systems, dead civilizations, worlds reduced to dust, galaxies consumed by darkness. The room watched in horror. We were created by the first civilization. The images expanded. A civilization older than anything the Union had ever imagined. Millions of years old. Possessing technology so advanced, it appeared godlike. Then came another image. The darkness. A living void spreading between galaxies, consuming stars, consuming civilizations, consuming history itself. The being spoke again. They called it the Devourer. The room fell silent. The name felt appropriate, terrifyingly appropriate. The images showed endless defeat, countless species, countless empires, countless failures. Every civilization eventually fell. Every resistance eventually broke. The Devourer always won, always. Then another image appeared. A small blue planet. Earth. The room stared, confused. The being's voice softened. For millions of years we searched. The image zoomed closer. Primitive humanity. Hunters, families, children. People gathered around fires beneath ancient stars. We searched for the impossible. Another pause. Then the being delivered the sentence that changed galactic history forever. We searched for a species capable of surviving hopelessness. The room froze. Scientists frowned. Admirals exchanged glances. Nobody understood. Yet. The being continued. We searched for a species that would continue fighting after victory became impossible. More images appeared. Ancient humans, surviving ice ages, surviving famine, surviving disasters, wars, plagues, extinction events, collapse, recovery, again and again and again. The being's eyes seemed almost emotional. We found only one. The room went completely silent. The wardens had not protected humanity because humans were strongest, not smartest, not fastest, not most advanced, not chosen, not special. Humanity had been protected because humanity possessed something extraordinarily rare. Persistence. Not ordinary persistence. The kind that defied mathematics. The kind that ignored probability. The kind that kept going after logic demanded surrender. The kind the galaxy consistently misunderstood. The revelation struck the Union like lightning. For centuries, alien civilizations had measured strength incorrectly. Physical power, psychic ability, technology, military force, longevity. Humanity ranked poorly in all categories. Therefore, humanity seemed weak. Yet the Wardens had spent 12,000 years searching for something else entirely. The ability to endure, the ability to adapt, the ability to continue despite impossible odds, and no species in known history matched humanity. The being spoke again. The Devourer does not destroy civilizations. Another image appeared. Entire species kneeling, giving up, surrendering, accepting defeat. The darkness consumed them afterward. A horrifying realization spread through the room. The Devourer wasn't merely a physical threat. It was psychological. It broke civilizations first, destroyed hope, destroyed purpose, destroyed will. Only then did extinction follow. The Wardens had tested thousands of species. Everyone eventually surrendered. Everyone except humanity. The being looked directly at Elias. The human response to hopelessness is unique. A scientist whispered. My God. Because suddenly countless historical mysteries made sense. Humanity's refusal to quit. Humanity's tendency to help strangers. Humanity's ability to rebuild after catastrophe. Humanity's irrational optimism. The galaxy viewed those traits as weaknesses. The Wardens viewed them as survival mechanisms, the exact traits required to defeat the Devourer. Then alarms erupted. Every display flashed red. The darkness had arrived. Observers across the solar system watched reality distort. Stars disappeared, space twisted. And something emerged. No language could adequately describe it. Its size alone defied comprehension. The object stretched across astronomical distances. A living abyss, a wound in reality. Looking at it created nausea, fear, despair. People began crying without understanding why. Others collapsed. Some simply stared. Hopelessness spread like a disease. The Devourer had arrived, and suddenly everyone understood why entire civilizations surrendered. Because fighting seemed meaningless. Victory seemed impossible. Existence itself felt temporary. The psychological effect intensified every second. Alien fleets broke formation. Crews panicked. Command structures collapsed. Civilizations across the Union experienced mass despair. The war was ending before it began, exactly as it always had. The Wardens activated their defenses. Thousands of hidden vessels emerged from hyperspace. Ancient fleets, ancient weapons, ancient power. The largest armada in galactic history. The Devourer ignored them, because it had destroyed larger forces before, many times. The Wardens knew it. Their commanders knew it. The galaxy knew it. Defeat seemed inevitable. Then humanity did something unexpected. Again. A single rescue ship departed Earth. Then another. Then another. Thousands followed. Not military vessels. Civilian ships. Medical ships. Cargo ships. Mining ships. Exploration vessels. Anything capable of flight. They moved toward frightened alien worlds. Toward collapsing fleets. Toward people losing hope. Communications networks flooded with human messages. Not speeches. Not propaganda. Stories. Millions of stories. Stories of survival. Stories of failure. Stories of rebuilding. Stories of ordinary people enduring extraordinary hardship. Humanity began reminding the galaxy how to hope. One person at a time. One story at a time. One act of kindness at a time. The effect spread. Slowly, then rapidly. A frightened alien child received food from human volunteers. A stranded crew was rescued. A refugee convoy was escorted to safety. A hospital received supplies. A damaged fleet was reinforced. Tiny actions, insignificant actions. Yet together they created something powerful, the opposite of despair. The Devourer had never encountered it before, not on this scale, not across an entire civilization. The darkness hesitated, for the first time, ever. The wardens noticed immediately. So did Elias. The Devourer fed on surrender. Humanity kept refusing to surrender. Worse, humanity kept convincing others not to surrender. The psychological weapon was failing. Across the galaxy, species that had once mocked humans began imitating them, helping neighbors, sharing resources, protecting strangers, supporting allies. Hope spread faster than fear. The Devourer weakened. The impossible was happening. The enemy that had consumed civilizations for millions of years was encountering something new. Collective resilience, not military resistance, emotional resistance, civilizational resistance. Humanity had transformed survival into a contagious phenomenon. The darkness recoiled. The wardens immediately attacked. Ancient weapons unleashed unimaginable power. Union fleets joined them. Then civilian vessels joined. Then everyone joined. For the first time in cosmic history, the Devourer faced an opponent it could not psychologically break. And without despair, it became vulnerable. The battle lasted 3 days. 3 brutal days. Worlds shook. Stars burned. Millions sacrificed everything. Thousands died saving strangers. Humanity fought beside species that had once wanted Earth abandoned. Those same species now fought beside humanity. Not because treaties required it, because respect had replaced fear. Trust had replaced suspicion. Friendship had replaced prejudice. At the center of it all stood Elias, not commanding armies, not wielding superweapons, simply coordinating rescue efforts, keeping people alive, keeping communication networks active, keeping hope moving. The same thing he had done during the Academy simulation, saving people, connecting people, helping people work together. The galaxy finally understood. The Academy simulation had never been about tactics. It had revealed humanity's greatest strength, not winning battles, preserving people. On the 4th day, the Devourer finally broke. The living darkness retreated, then collapsed, then vanished. The stars returned, one by one, across the galaxy. Light flooded regions dark for centuries. Silence followed, beautiful silence. The war was over, against all probability, against all logic, against all historical precedent. Humanity had helped accomplish the impossible. Not alone, never alone. Humanity's greatest gift was making sure nobody fought alone. Months later, representatives from every major civilization gathered above Earth, the largest diplomatic assembly ever recorded. Fleet Commander Talvek addressed the crowd. His voice carried across countless worlds. For centuries we judged humanity incorrectly. Silence filled the assembly. We measured strength through power. He looked toward Elias, toward Earth, toward humanity. And we failed to recognize courage. The crowd rose. Not in obligation, not in ceremony, in respect. Genuine respect. Former enemies stood together. Former rivals embraced. Former critics acknowledged their mistake. Humanity had changed the galaxy, not through conquest, not through technology, not through dominance, through example. The wardens departed quietly soon afterward, their mission finally complete. Before leaving, they delivered one final message, a simple message, the same message they had spent 12,000 years protecting. The message every civilization now understood. Hope is not weakness. Compassion is not weakness. Endurance is not weakness. The strongest force in existence is a person who refuses to give up on another person. Years later, Elias would return to the Academy. Students often asked how humanity defeated the Devourer. He always gave the same answer. We didn't. The students would look confused. Then he would smile. We just refused to let anyone face it alone. And somehow that answer explained everything. Because in the end, Humanity's greatest achievement was never surviving. It was helping others survive too. For centuries, the galaxy measured strength in weapons, wealth, and power. Humanity measured it differently, in the ability to endure, to adapt, to care, to keep moving forward when every logical reason said to quit. And in the end, that difference changed the stars forever.